Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
Hello, welcome everybody to Whole Health Weekly. Good little crowd I got here tonight. I like it. This is going to be fantastic. So tonight we have a few things. Little update on my father. He's doing better. Still has a little bit to go. But wow, what a difference, that he had to go through. So those prayers work like normal. We know that, right? So that's the thing. Continue to pray for him. I think this could really be a good spot where he actually gets to feel better too. So I'm pretty excited about that. The other thing is tonight is episode number 40 of Whole Health Weekly. That's pretty awesome. So I'm starting to get some gain and some traction, baby. So I'm feeling good. I got like 65 people on the Rumble. And I'm going to put that up there tonight. My podcast, it seems to be getting heard. I love the natural organic way. Yes, we're going to start with a few people, but hopefully the information we get out there will be worth you hanging out for. So with that said, remember that these are the places where you can follow or watch old recordings. So the first one is my Rumble channel. So the Rumble channel is the one that has a nice library. Like it's set up pretty nice. I've heard that it's going to be even better. Like there's a way to kind of structure it so you can go into like new herbals. You can go into physical and thought. So I'm going to try to categorize that as well. So that'll be cool. YouTube is, I don't know how many followers I got on YouTube, but I've changed it to A Prize Inside, a chiropractor's journey on YouTube as well. So we have the YouTube link. Let me throw that one in there. And then throw that bad boy in there. And then the last and final, well, there's two more. I'm going to put in there where the place where you can listen to a podcast. Okay, anywhere you can get a podcast going. So that's on Spotify, iTunes, all the major ones. So we have that. And then the last and final thing is I have this little email list. It's on this thing called Substack. It's called tribe1.substack.com. tribe1.substack.com. And for if you want to get on email list that knows when I'm going live. So typically it's always going to be Sunday night, Wednesday night, about 8:30 right now. The Substack will allow us though to, like, as we go, we can throw out more notifications and all those things. So with those said, let's get started, shall we? So tonight, what we want to do is I always start with a chiropractic quote of the week. So this one is by another like legendary chiropractor in our profession. His name was Reggie Gold, which is kind of a cool name, Reggie Gold. And he did phenomenal talks. It was fantastic. So one of my favorite, this is really, really good. As far as understanding what chiropractic is and when we say the term subluxation, okay. So this is an old version of the description, but it helps you understand. So he quoted, tie a piece of string around the nerve going to the heart. I'm going to suggest the heart will function better if you take the string off. This is a subluxation, the only reason for chiropractic's existence. Okay. So the chiropractic is around because we try to improve the function of the human body through the nervous system. We try to regulate it in different ways to understand, recalibrate that nervous system as best you can without adding drugs or surgery. We want to normalize the body's functions through the nerve pathways, and that's what chiropractic does. Okay. So, if you have a broken circuit to your heart, that can cause an issue. So you want to make sure that broken circuit, that bent wire, that tied string around your finger, we want to make sure that nerve flow is there. And that's what chiropractic's all about. So with that said, I like that quote. And then we're going to go into some of the health topics that we have this week that are trending. So, and Gina sent me one. So Gina's my TikTok specialist. She kind of looks at different topics out there on TikTok. Oh, okay. This one's a good one. So this is her quote for TikTok news this week. So this is like what's trending. So highly contagious viruses, a lot going around. What can someone do to cut down symptoms or try and avoid altogether? That's a great question. So the first thing I would say is no matter what season it is and how highly contagious these things are, there's always an answer of avoiding, like fake sugars, right? So first thing first, before we start any supplementation, we want to eat clean at this time of year. You're seeing the fall start coming in. That's when you start losing vitamin D level. Why? Your vitamin D level, because the sun is going away faster. So we're not gaining the sun exposure, which gives us vitamin D. What does vitamin D do? Vitamin D essentially is a hormone, not even a vitamin. It acts like a hormone that it balances out so many things in your body, but one of the major ones is the immune system. So if you think of vitamin D as your alarm system to your house, your alarm system you want set so that if the robber tried to shake the door or the window, the alarm would go off and the police would start showing up. Those would be your immune cells. You don't want an alarm system that they shimmy the window, they open the window, they get into the house, they rob the place, they get out of the house, and then the alarm goes off. That's what low vitamin D level can do for you. So my suggestion always is make sure your vitamin D, and I usually tell people, get a blood test and see. You might be good. You never know. But the biggest thing is making sure you understand what your vitamin D level is, and then maybe do things that can help it. You know what I mean? Like there is great vitamin D supplementation. Biggest one is the sun. The sun is by far better than any kind of supplementation. Just make sure, and through good fresh veggies is another fantastic way to get vitamin D, right? So no sugar, vitamin D, C, zinc, vitamin A, selenium, all of these things that we've gone over. I've gone over a few in Rumble channels of like what you should take in this flu season. So if you want to go back and see those videos, it's fantastic. It works, right? And so contagions are tough because, we get a little fearful, number one, of, these highly contagious things. One of the things is like understanding like how to, and the other part of that question was, how do you, keep it at bay or, like keep the symptoms down? Well, Gina came up with a really good one. There's several, right? Elderberry, when you're feeling like garbage, that's a good one. There's several different kinds of tinctures. Now, it depends on what you're dealing with as far as these contagious viruses or whatever, right? It's really your immune system taking a dump on you, just to let you know. So if your immune system's not up to par, you get a virus. So what that should show you is you have an indicator. I need to work on my immune system. That's what you should say. If you get a sickness or whatever, you're like, okay, my immune system's not up to par. So I'm going to actually add more things to that, right? So just remember, elderberry's fantastic. There is a lot of things that could help that quite a bit. The one that Gina's using, black seed oil and oregano oil. And I have proof of this. We had a little phlegmy thing. You could see it going through the office. It happens. It's nature's way. We have to understand, like, there's no time in our lifetime that you're not going to have something, right? But some get hit by it harder than others. So, and I'm watching her and she looks like, whoo, she is not feeling good this one day. Well, then the next day, she's usually kind of dragging a few days after, gets, the head cold or whatever. She was like bubbly. And I'm like, whoa, what is that? And she goes, I've tried so many things, Jeremy, but black seed oil and oregano really worked for me. Right. And so that's the neatest thing about herbal. There's so many things for immune system and there's so many varieties of things. Don't discount any of them, right? You have adaptogens and immune system ones and anti-inflammatories. There's so many good things out there for the herbal category that it's worth, exploring that. And that's one reason I love the herbal things and what you can learn and that's why one of the reasons I'm doing this podcast too, is so that you can learn those kind of things. Getting adjusted on a regular basis. That's another one that can help keep that maximized performance out of your body, can really, really help you. So just remember that was a good trendy TikTok thing, that there's all these contagious viruses. And what time when school starts does that never happen? It always happens, right? So we shouldn't be surprised every time it comes, but it does. So let's look and see what's trending on social media. All right, let's see what we can talk about. Okay, so this is a good one, and we'll bring this up a little bit because you're going to hear more of this, I think. Gina and I were just discussing this, but so in the mental health area, there's over 1 billion people worldwide are living with some kind of mental disorder, like anxiety and depression, per WHO data. This demands urgent scaling of services ahead of the UN high-level meeting in non-communicable diseases, September 25th, 2025. The economic and human tolls are immense, and that is very, very true. You're going to see in healthcare, I believe, you're going to start seeing people ask those questions more, like medical doctors. Instead of just seeing how you're doing, they're going to really look at those kind of situations. I caution some of this, right? I caution a lot of it, right? And it's not necessarily because I disagree. There's a lot of people that have, depression, anxiety type things, but we have to find ways to holistically help these conditions fix it. One of my favorite stories when I started following Dr. Low Dog was she was in a documentary and she said something pretty profound. She had a patient come in and it was a female that was working at a factory. And she was average between 40 and 50 hours a week, had 3 kids and a husband. Well, one day she comes in and she comes into the doctor and she was her normal checkup and she starts talking to the doctor and she's the lady that's working at the factory is pretty just kind of a snippy, just didn't want to be there, those kind of things. Well, come to find out, her husband was leaving her. She had to figure out how to get the kids to the kids to the school. Several things were happening in her life on that particular visit. Well, what happened is the MD was like, "Oh, you must be depressed." And this lady that she was like, "No, I'm not depressed. This is what it is." Right. And what happened is she ended up like getting rid of the MD and then going to a naturopath. And this naturopath happened to be Dr. Herbalist. Dr. Lodog is a medical doctor and an herbalist, like that kind of thing. So she goes to Dr. Lodog and says, "This lady was trying to put me on like these anxiety meds and all this stuff." And so Dr. Lodog listened to the story as she explained it. She was like, "That day, my husband was leaving me and the kids and all this stuff. And I'm still pretty pissy and, that kind of thing." But what we found is that is life. That is a reality. That's a really crappy day. It doesn't mean you have to be depressed. That doesn't mean you have to have anxiety. There can be things that cause the feeling of anxiety, but we have to stop identifying as those things. Once you tell yourself that you are those things have dominion over you. They have dominion over you. So it's the oldest trick in the book. If I can trick you to say, I'll get a great example. Chiropractors do not do this very much anymore, but it used to be a thing. They'd look and see how much arthritis you had in your low back and be like, "Oh man, you're going to have to see me for a really long time because of how much arthritis is in your back." Right. And then if you said to them, I'll use chiropractic because that's what I know. If you said, "Oh yes, I do have a lot of arthritis in my back," you now own that condition. It is part of the genetic programming. Remember how we said that the genes of your body that run are just genes that run based on a program that is downloaded into your computer, correct? So if now I have this new anxiety program that I've decided to start running on the background of my computer, you're going to have issues. If I have a arthritis program that I put on my computer, you're going to keep playing with that computer. You're going to keep playing with that program. The idea that you really, really want to focus on is understanding it's a program. Okay. I'm not saying don't see a therapist or anything. My God, that's what they work on, right? And it's a big problem. You saw it, like 1 billion people. That's telling us some kind of approach to life is not happening correctly. Right. And so the other one that I really like is, when in doubt, if you have any of those things, work your tail off. Work your tail off that day. It's hard to do that when you're exhausted, right? Hard to do those things when you're exhausted and tired and not overthinking. Right. Or here's another one that I just heard. A guy named Scott Adams. I love. He's got a couple really good ones. They're kind of bangers. But he said one time, he's like, "Man, if you're just having a rough day, find the crap that you don't want to do. Like if there's something in your house that you're like, man, I've been putting that off, do it on the crappy day and start smiling, because the day couldn't get any crappier. So you might as well do the crappy thing that you didn't want to do anyway. So you don't have to do that anymore." I thought that was pretty brilliant as well. So those are some things on that note of, the mental health part. But understand, in medical world and chiropractic and everybody, they're going to ask you more questions on that. And I want us holistic people to be ready for that. Be ready for that conversation. And maybe we can start changing some things, right? That would be sweet. Okay. So let me see what else we got. All right. Man, so just be careful of a lot of the wellness, okay? So one of the things that I cannot stand is how medical sick care model things take over words that have nothing to do with wellness or holistic, okay? Wellness has been stolen by the sick care. model of things. You get a well check, all these different things. What are you doing at a well check? To see if you're not sick, finding indicators if you're sick or not. Okay. That's not a well check. Okay. A well check would be to see how you're functioning, see how all the bones of your body would work, see how the muscles are working. Like, how's your ultimate health? The entire thing of a well check would be like, what's your max? What's your max bet? Right? Your max bench press. A wellness check is better done in a gym than it would be, necessarily in the sick care model where we're trying to find out, are you sick or not? That's basically what it's come to. And it's unfortunate because when you have words matter. And when you get a word stolen from you, like holistics, we decided to go after that one. So we have all these holistic centers. There's nothing holistic about one different marijuana plant. Okay. It's not holistic. I don't know how they just get away with saying that stuff. That drives me nuts. But words do matter, right? So when I say holistic, I mean the whole body. I mean not just one medicinal herb, right? I mean the whole body as a whole, every cell in your body, every thought, every toxin, every trauma, right? That's what we want to think about. So remember that there's this wellness trend, okay? And with a wellness trend, just be ready. They're coming after your cash. So before you do anything, really, really research it. I'm noticing patients are doing that though. I'm having a lot more people not say, hey, I bought this. Doesn't work very well. I go, yeah, I know. You have to do this other stuff. But if you start researching, do this thing. Like I tell Lexi all the time. Lexi will go, man, I want this shirt. I'm like in love with this shirt. And I'm like, do me a favor. You can buy it. We can get it. But put it in the like Amazon for save for later for 2 days. Save for later for 2 days. And then see where you're at. So then 2 days later, you just still have a shirt. No, I want a different one. This one's not as good. Exactly. See, that's the hard part. Everything's so instant gratification. It happens a lot in my wellness areas. Okay. There's the newest, latest, greatest. And a lot of times they can be good. You can have some good supplementation out there. But one time there was like a beet supplement that was huge online. People were paying $120 like a month when you could get the same thing, just a different brand, the exact same thing for like $20 for the whole month. So make sure you do your due diligence. Don't get sucked in. They're very good at pulling you in to that section of things. Okay. So that's one reason why we're here at Whole Health Weekly as well. So, all right, I'll get on to some good stuff. All right. Let's see. I'm not seeing a ton here. So what we're going to do, I really want to go into, I got some really good articles for Dr. Mercola. So I'd like to do that because I am not seeing a ton that we haven't talked about before. We've talked about GLP-1, don't cut corners, just get it done, right? Don't cut corners. It always costs you at the end. But GLP-1 is a hormone. If you replace any kind of hormone, you're going to have issues, right? So it's to your caution. People think I'm crazy on that part, but I've seen it happen with melatonin, creatine, all these different ones. Creatine's a good question too. I don't know if we've ever gone over that. Creatine is something your body produces, right? It's part of the energy cycle. It actually does work for building muscle. One of the problems, though, is you really shouldn't start it when you're super young. The reason is if your body makes it, then you're replacing what your body's making, telling your innate intelligence, this innate ability to not make it anymore, right? So then it doesn't make it anymore because it's got other things it can do. Now you don't produce it as well later. Okay. So as we age, though, and we start reducing that muscle mass kind of situation, sometimes creatine can be a good Kickstarter and just going in like what I call runs. So like a 1 month run or, those kind of things could be a potential there too. So, and they're finding a lot of benefits with the creatine as well. If it's done like that, if it's just solely on a kid to build muscle, the muscle mass will be there, but you just got to be careful of how much you'll lose. Okay. So just remember that. A lot of things out there that are not dangerous. They're just, you got to understand how to use them necessarily. Okay. All right. So let's go into Dr. Mercola's articles. You know how I love, if you ever want a great place for holistic articles that are fantastic, it's Dr. Mercola's website. I love it. He's got so many different ones. He is a medical doctor that really hones in on the medical information that's out there. So there's a couple that'll be nerdy to me. Hopefully you'll enjoy them. All right. So we're going to go into, all right, let's go to the one I found before, and then I'll go back. Okay. All right. We're going to talk about this. It's a compound. Okay. It's called butyrate. So butyrate is what we're talking about. And it's not, like this article says by Dr. Mercola, it's not a vitamin, a drug, or a supplement, but it is a compound that when it runs low, it can cause a ripple effect through your body in cause major issues. So this article is called A Deep Dive into Butyrate, Your Gut's Powerhouse Molecule. Butyrate is a short-chain fatty acid produced by gut bacteria that ferment dietary fiber. It serves as essential fuel for colon cells and maintaining overall systemic health. Adequate fiber intake, around 30 grams daily, is crucial for butyrate production. Without it, your body burns stored fat and protein, creating disease-causing byproducts. Okay. All right. Butyrate strengthens your gut barrier, preventing intestinal permeability that allows harmful substances to enter the bloodstream and trigger autoimmune responses. That's cool. Research shows that butyrate improves insulin sensitivity, reduces diabetic risks, lowers bad cholesterol, prevents colorectal cancer, and supports brain health. Boost butyrate by eating fiber-rich foods, resistant starches, fermented foods, and probiotics, while avoiding processed foods, managing stress, and limiting unnecessary antibiotics. Okay. So if you've been with me a while, you know that I'm a gut microbiome freakazoid. And when we look at this is one. Butyrate was a great compound to find out about because of the gut strengthening piece. So a lot of the issues that people are having, IBS, Crohn's, a lot of these our gut diet and our gut bacteria have gotten so bad that the gut walls are actually not doing what they're supposed to do. And so with this butyrate, what they're saying is a lot of these things are going to be your fiber rich sources, right? So your good vegetables, your hearty vegetables. Okay. One of the things that happens though, and the best way, my opinion, is fermented foods. There is some fantastic fermented foods out there. If you're not into fermented, find something. Okay. There's kombucha, kimchi, sauerkraut. Find it. We've done one on sauerkraut. Sauerkraut, a great recipe that does not taste like sauerkraut. It's fantastic. You add a little lemon, a little dill to your sauerkraut when you homemade make it, and it's phenomenal. I'll have to show you. Let me see if I can find. I think I still have the picture of it. Yeah, this is one from a while ago. I showed you this one. See that? So this is called Cercada. It's a Mexican sauerkraut. And then we did some kimchi. Okay. So either one. The funniest thing is we weren't sure how the Certado, I think it is, would be because we never had tried it before. Rachel and I have burnt that one out. probably the fastest fermented food we've ever gone through. So those jars are those big, almost like gallon jars. And you can do a whole 1 cabbage with the spices you need and you ferment that whole thing. Sometimes 1 or 2 cabbages actually. And so you can put that in there, ferment, and there's these cool lids. I'll bring that back up. There's these cool little burping lids. That's as simple as it is. You just got to keep monitoring it and watching it. And then just see how it goes. And then you ferment it to a certain time. And then you can take that fermentation lid off, put a regular one on when you got to the right taste, and then you put it in your fridge. How long does that last? That lasts up to a year, maybe longer. And you'll still have the good gut microbiome, situation in all these different fermented foods. That's why I always recommend making your own and it's really fun, but you're talking a gallon jar like this big. You have a side dish to your food every day if you wanted to, right? If you find something you really like, but it's done. It's like something you can throw on a salad. It can be, a side thing, all those kind of things. So that's why I love fermented foods. I think they're, like as we go, if I can get people to do a little bit of the fermented foods, some people's guts aren't ready for that though, right? So if you've got a gut problem, like major gut problem, first talk to me because Rachel and I are doing this cool program that I'm loving it. I'm thinking people are really, really enjoying it at the office. We do a whole gut microbiome like fix, like as we go, and we stay with you throughout the process just to get there. So we love that part. So if you're ever interested, reach out, let me know. That would be fantastic. It's kind of simple, but it's really hard, right? So that's why you have to have, Rachel and I both kind of, walking you through, and we have enjoyed it so much. We adjust individual patients all day. So to work together is pretty awesome. It's like we just know each piece and and the details that we all want to know. So just remember that one in gut health. But butyrate, it's important. Where do you get it? The fibers, right? You can't do probiotics and not give yourself some fiber. Okay. You want to make sure you're eating some good veggies, and that will help your butyrate level, which will also eventually help your gut wall, your gut strength. Okay. All right. So that one's that one. Let's go. And I apologize for my voice. I come right out of on Wednesday night. I do middle school robotics. So we're talking pretty much for an hour and a half. Our robot's looking sweet. I will not show you guys that picture until we do our first competition, and I will show you our robot later. But until then, top secret, just to let you know. Okay. All right. So this one's kind of cool. Hot baths. This is Dr. Mercola again. So hot baths trigger exercise-like effects. Interesting. This will be good. So a 45-minute soak in a hot bath mimics the effects of moderate cardio, boosting heart output and immune function without ever lifting a finger. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. So a 45-minute hot bath raises your core body temperature by 1.1 degrees and boosts cardiac output as much as a moderate intensity cardio workout. Hot water immersion increases immune activity, helps control inflammation, and supports immune surveillance. Compared to traditional infrared saunas, hot baths trigger the strongest cardiovascular and immune responses due to water's more efficient heat transfer. Very hot water dries out your skin, alters its pH, and disrupts your skin microbiome, especially if you have eczema, rosacea, or sensitive skin. Sorry, that was a weird sentence on their part. Okay. You can reduce risk by keeping bath sessions under 30 minutes, moisturizing with coconut oil immediately afterwards, and rotating with sauna usage if hot baths irritate your skin. All right. So let me see. So a 45 minutes soak in a hot bath. Okay, so we're there in a full degree. Yeah. So this is a cool article. I thought you guys would like this because there's so much talk about cold baths, which are pretty good. They actually do that. But think about the process. Okay. So no matter what, if you go hot or cold, what are you doing? Homeostasis. What is homeostasis? It's your body's innate ability to move your temperature up and move it down. Okay. So if you do cold, what happens to your body? It's not just cold, right? Your arteries constrict around your hands and your feet. Why? Because it's trying to push blood to the core of your body to increase the heat there because you're in this cold environment. In a hot environment, what would you do? Your body is going to express it by extending, it's going to open up your arteries, flowing the blood and stuff away from your core to cool your core down, moving all the circulation and everything into your arms and your legs. So what can happen is like when you do things that put your body into these kind of extreme situations, you're actually healing yourself. If I go up and down in any kind of situation, it works. It's going to help your body improve that. Now, this article was pretty cool because I had never seen it, that it's almost more effective than infrared and sauna, because sometimes the saunas, they can be pretty decently expensive. But if you got a nice bathtub, you can do the same thing. A nice hot bath. Just make sure you're watching and monitoring your skin, right? So, because what's the biggest organ of the human body? The skin, right? So the skin. Oh, I got comments. I forgot I got to look over here. Oh, yeah. All right, Austin, whatever. Start eating some veggies. All right, he says never touch yourself. I get it. It's terrible. I get all the fiber from, yes, I agree. Now you threw me off track. I know there is a lot in McChickens. I mean, if once in a while they got a piece of lettuce on there, I know, but that ain't gonna take care of business on the old fiber. So anyway, I was like, that's Austin. I miss you, man. Don't be moving on me and all that stuff. Hilarious. Good conversations that I've always had with you, buddy. That's right. So anyway, so we go back to the heat, right? So a hot bath. What other thing happens when you have your skin? It's an absorbing element. It's this absorbing organ, right? So one of the tricks in my herbal world is, it's been happening a lot. If you went and got especially for your people that are kind of, let's say you have like an elderly family member, or just not big into like, doing a lot. We helped this one lady. I remember she's about 86 years old. And her daughter was pretty concerned. Her diet wasn't great, like she didn't feel like she wanted to eat a lot, so she wasn't getting a lot of good nutrients. So we started her on a nice bath, right? We had mom have a nice bath, but instead of pouring like soap into her bath, we actually poured liquid multivitamin into the bath. It says crazy good things, right? It actually works. Her daughter noticed a marked difference there, and that's why I love a liquid multivitamin. You can do this with a baby. You can do this with, all kinds of ways to get, because your body is an absorber of that's what your skin does. That's one of the problems too. We absorb too much of the stuff, right? And that could be an issue. So remember the hot bath thing. That's pretty cool. That it actually helps with the cardio, right? And it's in a full immersion. They were talking like up to your neck, right? So it's not a quick and then get out, right? So some of us will need bigger bathtubs. I know that. Like to do that, but that's how that works. All right. So let's go on to, Oh, this is interesting. Let's throw this out there because you all know how much I love fake sugar drinks. It's just one of my favorite things in the world, even though they're addictive as crack is and so terrible for you and your immune system. But this article is by Dr. Mercola. Sugary drinks increase risk of hair loss, study finds. Here's one more reason for you to ditch your sugar-loaded soda pops and processed juices immediately. They're causing you to lose your hair. Research shows that sugary drinks and alcohol intake are strongly linked to faster hair loss, with younger men experiencing baldness patterns that typically appear a decade earlier. A systematic review covering 61,000 participants confirmed low vitamin D and iron levels a systemic review covering over 61,000 participants confirmed low vitamin D and iron levels consistently worsen hair loss, highlighting how nutrient deficiencies directly weaken follicles. So you heard that too. So low vitamin D, that's why we're going to check it, and then your iron level, that being low, that doesn't really go with the sugary drink thing though. Okay, hang on. So sugary drinks spike insulin and fuel inflammation, narrowing scalp blood vessels and starving follicles of oxygen and nutrients, while accelerates thinning and weakens regrowth cycles. Men with male pattern baldness consumed nearly twice as many sugary drinks weekly compared to men without hair loss, proving diet is a visible risk factor. Cutting sugary beverages, limiting alcohol, restoring vitamin D through safe sun and boosting iron intake with nutrient-rich foods are direct steps to prevent hair and overall health. That's pretty interesting. I know. I like that. I'm putting all your stuff up, buddy. Yeah, just get rid of the water and go right to the Mountain Dew Zero. It's fantastic. I know. It's so true. Remember this too. Mountain Dew Zero, the reason they call it that, because it has zero nutritional value. Literally, you're eating nothing. But, that's how it goes, right? So there's no it's so interesting. This one doctor, I love him. If you ever get Mark Hyman, Hyman, he's phenomenal. He's like ridiculously good. He's a naturopath, and I love some of the things he says. Your job isn't to, I know how addictive pop is, right? Pop, soda, whatever you want to call it. It is literally crack. Okay. It's a very, very tough thing to get over. The problem is you really want to focus on, it's hard to break those kind of habits. And people get guilty about it or whatever. And that's not how you break this habit. You want to start by getting as much good nutrients as you can. Quit focusing on the bad stuff, right? Don't look at the bad stuff you could eat. Try to eat the good stuff first, right? Get as many good calories, good solid calories, and feel good about that. And then if you end up having some crap calories or soda or something, you'll start feeling the difference between the two. Because like with good food and good calories comes good energy. With crap food and crap calories, you're going to have crap energy. That's why it never works out so well, right? And so that's one kind of process we want to take care of and look at, as we go. All right. So I thought that was a pretty good one. I don't know if it's going to reverse your hair loss, Austin, but we could do it might turn it around for you. I don't know. I'm just kidding. If I remember right, you got the whole thing, man. You got it all there. You're good. Ooh, this one's kind of cool. Yeah, let's do this one. I like doing the fun ones that kind of random, but all of us kind of have this. So understanding tooth sensitivity and how to stop it at its root. Tooth sensitivity turns everyday pleasures like coffee or ice cream into painful experiences. But the pain is more than just an inconvenience, it's a warning sign. Tooth sensitivity often signals deeper dental problems like enamel erosion, gum recession, or hidden decay. Everyday habits such as drinking acidic beverages, brushing too hard, using harsh whitening products strip away your teeth's natural protection, exposing nerves. Natural alternatives like zinc, black seed oil, these are actually really good. So make sure you're writing these down. Zinc, black seed oil, and coconut oil soothe pain, reduce gum inflammation, and strengthen oral tissues without relying on fluoride. Some remedies, like clove oil or saltwater rinses, offer short term relief, while others, such as apple cider vinegar, make sensitivity worse. And I'll explain that in a little bit. Protecting enamel with gentle brushing, staying hydrated, breaking harmful habits, and seeking care from a mercury free biological dentist helps stop pain at its roots. So remember the zinc, the black seed oil, and the coconut oil. Those are really, really good. There's some really cool holistic alternatives that are starting to happen out there for your teeth. Super important. We're going to hear in the news in the next. Fluoride hasn't made a huge move yet, but you're going to see it out there as probably something that we probably shouldn't have put in every drop of water. Okay. So you're going to see it because what happens is like, think of fluoride as like taking too much magnesium. There is a point you can take too much, right? So I was talking to a patient on this. Magnesium's fantastic. Don't ever forget to have it in your supplementation. Some people like magnesium citrate. Magnesium citrate's the most common way that magnesium's taken. What you want to do, and the way to understand what your true magnesium level is sometimes, let's say you have magnesium. The problem with magnesium citrate is some people will, man, it makes me go have diarrhea. And that's very true. That means you took too much magnesium citrate. So what you want to do is keep taking it, but keep cutting. If you're getting diarrhea from it, you want to keep reducing your dose until you don't get diarrhea. Once you don't get diarrhea, that's the exact dose because it's different for each person. And there's tons of different ways to take magnesium as well. But like fluoride, fluoride will compete for different areas of your body, causing us to have issues in other areas, right? So fluoride, maybe you need a little bit, but we certainly didn't need it in all of the water supply of our world. We just didn't trust, that was going to be a thing. So now it's become kind of an issue, right? Same with like, mercury what are they? Gold filled teeth, mercury filled teeth, all those different things. We want to pull those out, right? The fillings, get some good ones in. Helps a ton, but sensitivity in teeth is super important. Remember too that as your mouth goes, so does your gut microbiome. Your gut is connected to your mouth. Your mouth is what you eat with. And so that's part of it. So part of our gut detox that we're doing, or the gut microbiome cleanse that we're doing with the patients and stuff, as we start from the beginning and go down, right? We want to make sure every part of the digestive system's working properly. So that's always a good thing too. So remember that food, tooth sensitivity, but just remember those few. Zinc. What did I say? Let me do that again. Oh, where'd it go? Of course, I lost it. Oh, there it is. Just one more time so you guys can hear it. Zinc, black seed oil, and coconut oil. Those are really good to use as like oral things. Okay. So like the clover, like gargling, brushing your teeth with things with that in it. Okay. Okay. All right. I like finding good ones. We can talk about all the crap that's like toxic, right? So I try to stay with. I had another one. All right. Oh man. Hang on. Sorry about this, guys. I had another really good one. Ooh, I like this one. Okay. So this one's pretty good. It's a Dr. Mercola. A couple tips on the liver, because the liver keeps seeming to show up a little bit more than it used to be. One is our processed crappy foods, on top of the seed oils and everything else. You could be now we're having kids get fatty liver diagnoses, right? Diagnoses way earlier in their lives, and they haven't touched alcohol at all. So why is that happening? Because you always heard fatty liver from alcoholics. Well, there's so much toxins that we're eating in our food that we're starting to have this fatty liver at a much younger age. So this is Dr. Mercola again. How to keep your liver healthy in your 50s and beyond. All right. Your liver handles over 500 essential functions, including detoxification, hormone balance, metabolism, bile production, immune regulation. As you age, your liver's ability to regenerate slows down, making it more vulnerable to damage from metabolic stress, toxins, inflammation, and nutrient deficiencies accumulated over time. Liver disease affects over 100 million Americans. It often develops silently, with many unaware until the damage becomes advanced and difficult to reverse. Industrial seed oils and alcohol overwhelm your liver with reactive aldehydes that damage mitochondria, impair detox pathways, and accelerate fat accumulation, inflammation, and cellular aging. Targeted dietary and lifestyle strategies like getting rid of vegetable oils, eating what they call choline rich foods, which is like your deep green stuff, improving sleep, managing stress, and staying physically active helps restore your liver function. So just remember how much your liver does. That's more of the thing. Let's take care of that liver. We used to make fun of that when you're, drinking all the time, right? Oh, my liver. It's an amazing organ. It processes so much garbage that we why make it work that difficult. You know what I mean? So maybe get rid of the vegetable oils. We get rid of the seed oils. Eat clean. And a lot of times you can go one day and your liver can recover, right? The biggest thing is like as we age, it's not as easy. So making sure you're eating cleaner as we get older, you can actually reverse a lot of the damage that goes on with the liver. Okay. All right. So I think, my friends, this has been a fun one. Hopefully you guys liked it. I'm going to look one more time and see if I see any other articles you guys might find interesting. I think we're good right now. I think we did. Remember back, always remember in my other Whole Health Weeklies, if you ever want to get on there, listen to some of the recordings. There's some good stuff. So zinc was one. If anybody has any kids out there, one that I didn't know is it's very linked to childhood asthma, a low zinc level. So that one was very interesting. So what I want to do is add one last piece in the chiropractic research, and then I will let you go for the night. All right. So this was a cool one. This one was, all right. That was September of this year. No, I want to do the May one. I think this one is one of my favorites. This is May 2025. This was in the Journal of Internal Medicine. So this is a study that was done there. And they analyzed data from 128,377 veterans with lower back pain. Chiropractic care reduced opioid prescriptions by up to 40% compared to usual medical care, with no increase in adverse events. That's a nice study. 128,377 veterans with low back pain reduced their opioid use by 40%. 40%. It's crazy. This supports an opioid sparing strategy in high risk populations like veterans, aligns with National Chiropractic Health Month theme, gets started with a chiropractic, blah, blah, blah. But that was cool. The study was the impact of chiropractic care on opioid prescriptions in Veterans Health Administration. Patients receiving low back pain care. Those are huge for us in chiropractic. We get to see those things. 40% reduction out of 120. Okay, so let me do some math. Hang on. So, what is all right? So 40% of 128,000 people, 40% is 51,000 people didn't have to use opioids out of that group. Holy crap. That should be something to talk about. And some of these veterans have been through some major back problems, major injuries, all those kind of things. So anybody that you know, and if you're out there and you're a veteran and you're listening, thank you for your service. Fight for your VA. Make it easier. The VA around us is still driving me nuts because they change it on these poor people. They were doing so well for so long, so many years. Back in 2016, we thought they had it figured out. They'd give these vets, they'd come in and they would get some visits and then they'd go back. And of course, every 3 to 6 months, they change it on these poor guys. What I say is give them a card, give them 20 visits a year and let's go. I tell people all the time, like Medicaid, Medicare, they all get several visits a year. Why does my vets have to go get a referral for 3, get 8, not see the doctor they want? It's super frustrating because I don't know this. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I got to go with our association down to Washington, D.C. a couple times to talk about this exact conversation. It gets introduced after we gone down there several years in a row. We finally get it in, because it was one of the cool. It was a very cool experience, knowing that, like if politicians are politicians, it's just like a blank slate, and especially if you don't have a checkbook with you. I don't know if that's what it is, but whatever. So anyway, so we go down there and we made a move though. We were like, all of a sudden, we're starting to get chiropractic care about 2016. If you know what I mean. So it started happening and it was glorious. Like these poor people were getting adjusted and all these things. Now they've done the thing again where they started limiting severely how all this stuff works. And it's just a frustration I see. And it's so simple. It's so simple. If they want to try chiropractic, here's a card of 12, get it out there. Right. But the ability for them to control. The problem is like chiropractic care offers you things to do with no medicine. So it's not like they're going to get addicted to anything. So I digress. I apologize for that. That one's always a frustration of me because I hear it from my vets that really, want to use chiropractic, but know how limited it can be. So if you're ever out in front of a senator or something, tell them, stop doing this VA crap. Send it through let them have 12 visits, quit having gatekeepers, everything else. It was like, crazy. Austin, listen, I'm glad it was the best. I'm glad this is the best night of your life. I'm sure your kid's birth, I'll forgive you on that one. So don't, wife must be in bed if you're saying that. So that's right. But with you guys, it was, I very much appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. Hopefully you got a little bit out of it. And hopefully next week we'll find some new articles out there. Remember too, if you're ever interested, message me. Just tell me any kind of topics that you'd like to discuss. The is she really remember that best night of my life? Just remember that. Oh yes, trouble. That's right. But yeah. So just remember, you could ask any kind of topics, and then if you shoot me some, earlier, I'll dive deep. If it's like a more complicated one, we can look at it. So with that said, you guys enjoy the rest of your night and have a good one. Until Sunday, we're going to have a holy basil Sunday, which is kind of hilarious. Holy basil, the herb. It's what they call an adaptogen. It's very, very good. And we're going to know how to use it on Sunday. So, all right. With that said, have a great night.